Hello, my name is Karen Mouchon, and I am the Finance Director and Treasurer of the City of East Grand Rapids. I plan to start today with a brief overview of the city finances as reported in the June 30th, 2014 audit. However, we encourage each of you to review the city's yearly budget, which is posted on the city's website. And as always, you are welcome to contact me if you were to have specific questions on city finances. This pie chart represents the revenue sources of the city's governmental activities. Not including the water and sewer fund, the city generated over $11.6 million during the year ended June 30th, 2014. 69%, or $8.1 million of the city's revenue comes from property taxes, and 15%, or $1.7 million of the city's revenue comes from state funding. The remaining revenue is generated through licenses, permits, and charges for services. This pie chart represents a resident with 100% principal resident exemption. In 2014, the city received 30% of the total amount of a resident's tax bill. 26% is distributed to East Grand Rapids Public Schools, which is shown in blue, and 44% is distributed to other agencies. Of the 30% portion that the city receives from tax bills, this pie chart represents the breakout of how that money is distributed after taking out expenditures paid for by direct revenue sources, such as grants, park and rec fees, and charges for services. The remaining represents the allocation of the various city expenditures as a percentage of tax revenue and other general revenue sources. Public safety is allocated 48%, or $4.5 million. 24%, or $2.2 million, is spent on public works. The type of expenditures included in public works include the following: street construction, road maintenance, street and sidewalk plowing, and yard waste disposal. The City of East Grand Rapids has 47.2 miles of streets in the city. Most of the city's streets were initially built prior to 1930 with substandard clay soils and concrete subbase. These streets deteriorate at a faster pace than modern-built roads and need to be resurfaced on a consistent time frame. The city receives a flat 19 cents per gallon of gas. When gas prices increase, the amount allocated to the gas tax does not increase. It is a flat amount and has not increased in per gallon value since 1997. In addition, as people drive fuel-efficient cars and less gallons of gas are purchased, the amount of gas tax decreases. With expenditures being subjected to inflationary increases, the revenue sources have not increased. The Grand Valley Metro Council rates the city's roads each year. An 8 to 10 is a road in good condition, a 5 to 7 is a road in fair condition, a 1 to 4 is a road in poor condition. I have an example of a 7 rating. This is Lakeside, Greenwood to Robinson. An example of a 5 rating would be Lovett, which is Wealthy to Greenwood. An example of a 3 rating is Wealthy Street. An example of a 2 rating is Maplewood by Breton. The City of East Grand Rapids has 81 miles of sidewalks. Most city sidewalks are over 50 years old and are cracking from age or heaving from tree roots. Historically, $75,000 has been budgeted each year to only fix the bad sections of the sidewalks. It would take 20 years to fix the bad sections of all 81 miles using only $75,000 per year. A task force was formed of 20 residents to review the current funding and current condition of the city's roads. Based on the feedback from the task force, the city has outlined an overall improvement plan which is found in the street and sidewalk funding policy. And this policy will be implemented if the dedicated road millage is approved. This policy can be found on the city's website. Factors included in the policy include the existing road conditions, necessary types of repairs, as well as coordination with other planned utility work. The plan not only addresses the worst roads, but also maintains the existing roads that are in good to fair condition. As shown in this chart, It is more economical to sustain roads in the moderate condition over a full-scale reconstruction. Sidewalks were also addressed during the task force, and it was decided and placed in the policy that you'll find online that $200,000 would be allocated to sidewalks if the funding is approved. This chart shows how the proper maintenance at the correct time can increase the life and the rating of a road. The curve shown on the previous graph can be reset by performing some of the maintenance activities outlined in the policy. The actual allocation of the road funding between the different methods will be approved each year during the budget process based on a detailed plan created by engineering. This chart shows the following. In 2009, approximately 75% of the city's roads were rated as good or fair. In 2013, approximately 48% of the city's roads were rated as good or fair. If we continue at the current funding levels, by 2025, only 5% of our roads will be rated as good or fair. This chart represents a projection of the percentage of the city's roads in either the good or fair categories based on the different funding levels. After the task force reviewed detailed budgets and projected road ratings during the meetings, we spent a significant amount of time with the following two questions. Where do we want our roads to be, and where do we want our funding to be? The task force recommended funding that would approximate the green line, or $1.2 million in additional funding, which equated to 2 mills. When projecting out over time, the task force felt this would be the most economic use of funds. This would put the city at an overall PASER rating of 6.0, with 70% of the city's roads at a good or fair rating by 2025. To raise this funding, the task force indicated the city should have a dedicated road millage to raise funding to a total of $1.2 million after accounting for the additional funding from the state. The projections and the funding assumes the city continues to transfer $1 million per year from the general fund, and that the city continues to receive federal funding for reconstruction of federal roads. After the task force met and decided where the city should be, the state approved a ballot proposal that will be put before the voters in May 2015. This was the same time the city was planning to have their vote. The state ballot proposal contains various components, but the component that will affect the City of East Grand Rapids millage proposal will be the increased funding for our roads through an increase in sales tax. If the state sales tax proposal passes, estimates equate to the city receiving an additional $450,000 per year. This would equal 0.77 mills. We will not receive the full funding until year 3. When approving the final ballot language, the City Commission voted to tie the amount of the city's millage request to the state sales tax proposal so that under either situation, the city would receive $1.2 million or the equivalent of 2 mills. If the state sales tax proposal passes, the city will levy 1.23 mills. If the state sales tax proposal does not pass, the city will levy 2 mills. Depending on the state ballot outcome, the information shown here is based on someone with an approximately a $300,000 home. However, this will vary based on each homeowner's taxable value, which could differ based on various factors. The city has a millage calculator on our website, so each resident can review their individual situation. If you have more questions, feel free to contact me, and thank you for listening to my presentation.